Hello, today I'm going to be talking about the Light module for the CA6. This is one of the modules I'm actually most proud of. That's thanks in large part to one of my beta testers, Dan from Arizona. He lives in Arizona where they get lots of lightning, so he was really able to optimize this for use with lightning, which I think without a doubt this is the best triggering system for lightning that I've ever seen. So we'll get into lightning specific photography in a little bit, but first let me give you an overview of the sensor. So there is this port here in the side, and you plug in a laser module. This will come with it, and then you can create a light trigger, which is nice. So there's the beam module, which kind of is a lot easier to align than this one, but this one does not pulse. So if you need really low latency triggering system that's light based, then this is a great option. And another thing we put on is in the bottom, there's a 1/4 inch hole, and you can either mount it to a tripod or you can mount it to the hot shoe of your camera. So you can get a little cheap adapter and this will then mount to your hot shoe on your camera, and that makes photographing lightning pretty easy. Another feature which is pretty evident is this shroud. So the idea behind this is you can slide it in and out, and if you slide it all the way in, light from 180 degrees will reach the sensor, but if you extend it out, it really makes a much narrower field of view for the sensor. So light from the side obviously won't get in, and you really need the lightning to be really close to the front of the sensor. So the reason we added that was, again, lightning. You want to often only take a picture if the lightning's in a specific area of the sky. And with this, you could really narrow down the part of the sky that the module was sensitive to. And lastly, it's not easy to see because it's on the circuit board, but there's 4 different sensitivities that we've configured in the hardware for the light module. So it'll work in dim light all the way up to being really sensitive even in pretty bright daylight. So that's important if you're taking lightning at night or if you're taking lightning at the daytime. You need a really high dynamic range, and we've put those 4 sensitivities into the light module for that reason. So now let's go into the software a little bit. So let's start with the light menu. So here you can sort of see that the current light value in this ambient indoor, not very bright lighting is 231. And if I go and change the sensitivity all the way down to low, that's going to drop the value to very low value, which would be good out in a bright sunny day. You can change the laser from on to off here as well. If you do have it on, it does turn off after a triggering event for the duration of your post delay on your camera. So that's a good way to have the laser turn off for a while after taking a photo so that it doesn't show up in your photo. Oh, the max or min triggering mode. So min means that when the current value, let's go back up to a more sensitive mode. So with min, if the value falls below 215 or 200, then it would trigger. And if I turned it to max, now it would be if the value goes above 200, it would trigger. So in this case, it would always be triggering in this ambient light level. If I sort of cover up the module, it goes below, just below 200 on the lowest sensitivity. I might want to drop down, a sensitivity level or something, and that'll really pull the light value down. And then if I take my finger off the module, it gets quite a bit brighter. So and that's how this light menu works. But the real pride and joy here is this, if I go back here to this lightning menu, The only thing you set here is this threshold. So that's basically how much the light value has to change. And there's kind of this rolling window of light values. So it says the current value is 230, and that's just for your reference. It's not actually sort of necessary. It helps you debug why it wouldn't be working, but the important thing is just how much is the light going to change when there's a flash of lightning. So let me go grab this flash. So now this is way brighter than a flash of lightning. But if I were to trigger a flash of lightning like that, it would cause the value to spike hugely. So I'm just going to leave it at 40. You might want to try a lower value if you have really far away dim lightning. I've seen values of like 5 or something be pretty good there. But 40 is great for nighttime lightning, or if you've got pretty close and bright lightning. But let's go into photo mode and sort of show you what this is all about. So now I'm going to simulate a strike of lightning, and you can see what shows up here. Basically, the way lightning works is it will pulse many times within a single strike, and those are called micro pulses, micro lightning, and a bunch of those will make up one strike of lightning, and those will typically take 100 to 200 milliseconds between all those strikes. So this will count how many of those micro strikes there are. It will give you sort of the peak value, which in this case was 4090, and that's because I have this really bright flash. An actual strike of lightning is not that bright. It tells you the reference value, and the reference value takes into account the auto sensitivity value. So I told you there were those 4 levels of sensitivity, and this sort of is saying, oh, we're indoors, it's pretty dim, so we're going to pick a sensitivity of high for now. If you're outside, it would probably turn it off into low or something, because it would be much brighter. And then it tells you how many of those micro strikes, and there's only one because the flash doesn't do the pulsing like real lightning does. But now, let me show you so I'm going to cover up the flash with my hand, and it's still going to detect the lightning strike. So there, because, even with my hand covered there, it's still got a value of 2400, and that's just because the flash is so incredibly bright, and the sensor is set to high because we're inside. So that makes it very easy to detect, and it'll detect these flashes. I can do some more, but it just really never misses one of these. Outside, you might have to adjust that reference value that I was talking about. But at the end of the day, this is just giving you information that helps you debug it. And what this really equates to is that this is the best lightning photography trigger system I've just ever seen. I've never seen one that gives you this kind of information, this kind of flexibility. The hardware is really well optimized for it. So I think if you want to photograph lightning, definitely check out this module. And again, a huge thanks to Dan out in Arizona, who's really helped put together this module. So hopefully this overview of the light module is useful. If you have any questions, as always, just let me know in the comments and I'll do my best to answer them. Thanks for watching.